Hi students, St. Bergman's Higher Secondary School, the Center of Excellence and Enrichment, welcomes you to the Communicative English class. Dear students, today we are going to continue with the tenses, past perfect tense and perfect continuous tense. We use the past perfect tense to talk about the past, but not just any situation in the past. We use the past perfect when we are talking about two events that happened in the past and when one event happened before the other event. For example, I had just stepped outside when it started to rain. I had just stepped outside when it started to rain. So there are two actions here, right? It is stepped outside and it started to rain. Now, if I use just the past simple for both of these events, well, then we don't know which one happened first, right? All we know is that both events happened in the past. So by using the past perfect in one of those actions, I'm letting you know which action happened before the other. I had just stepped outside when it started to rain. So which one came first? I stepped outside and then after it started to rain. Let's look at a few more examples. She had just finished her exam when the timer went off. She had just finished her exam when the timer went off. So which action happened first? Did the timer go up first? No, she finished her exam first, but only by a little just. And we know this because of the past perfect. I couldn't go out for dinner because I had left my wallet at home. I couldn't go out for dinner because I had left my wallet at home. So let's talk about how we make a past perfect sentence. We create the past perfect tense with a singular subject, he, she, it or Ram plus had plus V3 plus object plus rest. And plural subject, I, we, you, they plus had plus V3 plus object plus rest. So let's go back and look at those same examples again. She had just finished her exam when the timer went off. I couldn't go out for dinner because I had left my wallet at home. He had mentioned feeling sick, but then they were surprised when he suddenly fainted. When we use the past perfect in the sentence to show the order of things that happens in the past. The first event happens in the past perfect tense, second event happens in the past simple tense. Now, interestingly, it doesn't matter which order the events are in the sentence. It's the tenses that tells us what happened first. So, we could say the past perfect, past simple or the past simple and the past perfect is the same. In either of those examples, past perfect event is the one that happened first in time. I had just smelled smoke when the fire alarm went off. Or when the fire alarm went off, I had just smelled smoke. So in both examples, I smelled the smoke first. It happened just before the alarm went off. You also want to make a special point about adverbs here because we use adverbs like just and really. They are often used in the past perfect tense. Had just finished, have really tired, had already eaten. So we use just with the past perfect when one event happens immediately before the other. So you really want to emphasize that not much time has passed between the first event and the second one. He had just got in the shower when he heard a knock at the door. He had just got in the shower when he heard a knock at the door. So it was only moments before we use already with the past perfect. Let's see when an event happens early or earlier than expected. For example, I ran to the supermarket as fast as I could, but it had already closed when I got there. Now, let's move on to the past perfect continuous tense. Past perfect continuous tense is used to talk about something that has started in the past and continued in the past. But everything is in the past. You also know that because it has the word past in it, so it's about the past. And it has the word continuous in it, which means something continued, right? So that's the big clue. But let's understand a little bit better by looking at some examples. So we can use these tenses to talk about something that had been happening in the past. For example, I had been living in Florida before I moved to California. I had been living in Florida before I moved to California. Now let's see the structure of this tense. With a singular subject, he, she, it, or Ram plus had been plus V1 plus ing plus object plus rest plus since or for plus time. With the plural subject, I, we, you, they plus had been plus V1 plus ing plus object plus rest plus since or for plus time. For example, it had been raining since morning. Ram had been living in Meerut for 5 years. We had been waiting for you for an hour. I had been playing cricket since 2010. I had been working hard in Florida. So now let's see where we can use past perfect continuous tense. We can also use to talk about a past activity that had been happening. For example, we could say, it had been snowing all week. This activity that started in the past and continued in the past. And we can also use it to describe an activity in the past and that had been happening before another activity happened. For example, we had been playing golf before it started to rain. We had been playing golf before it started to rain. We can also use this tense to talk about a past activity or action that had been happening and we want to say the duration. For example, they had been working on that project for 6 months or since January. You can also use it to describe an activity that had been happening and the reason or cause for that. For example, we can connect to cause and we can say, she was tired because she had been studying all night. She was tired because she had been studying all night. To express an action that began before a certain time in the past and continued up to that time or stopped just before it. For example, the baby had been crying for 10 minutes when the nurse attended to her. The baby had been crying for 10 minutes when the nurse attended to her. And to express a repeated action in the past, perfect as a continuous action. For example, he had been trying to phone her. Now let us learn negative sentences. With a singular subject, he, she, it, or Ram plus had plus not plus been plus V1 plus ing plus object plus rest plus since or for plus time. With the plural subject, I, we, you, they had not been plus V1 plus ing plus object plus rest plus since or for plus time. For example, it had not been raining since morning. It had not been raining since morning. Ram had not been living in Meerut for 5 years. We had not been waiting for you for an hour. I had not been playing cricket since 2020. I had not been playing cricket since 2020. Now I am going to give you 2 events or 2 actions and both of these things are taken place in the past. So what you need to do is join them together into one sentence and make sure you use the past perfect continuous tense. The first one, even first. We played football. Event 2, it started to rain. And the second one, event first, we waited for the bus for an hour. And event 2, finally the bus arrived. And third one, event first is, we worked at the supermarket for a long time. And event 2, one day he became the manager. So dear students, you have to form the sentence in the past perfect continuous tense using the above clues. I hope this class has helped you to make the past perfect and past perfect continuous tense a little clear. And hopefully, if you will be more comfortable using it now, it is an awesome opportunity to practice using these tenses to help you accurately tell the story of your day in order, so that it's clear when and how this event happened in relation to each other. So thank you. Let's meet again in the next class.